Welcome back to Handyman 101. It is the eve of the 4th of July, where we celebrate our freedoms. I want to start off with economic freedoms. And a lot of you don't have much in the way of economic freedoms. If you live in California, New York, or New Jersey, it's going to be an uphill battle. Now, don't get the wrong idea of what I'm talking about. I love California. I was born and raised in New York. I've driven through New Jersey. Not much reason to stop in New Jersey. It's about economic freedoms and regulation. And that is going to affect your business and how you run your business. I got lucky that I have like 0 state regulations. The only thing I have, to do with the state is I pay state income taxes, and my business is registered on the website of the Secretary of State. That's it. The state does not regulate any licensing, any inspections in construction related fields. And most of it's all divvied out to the municipalities in the state. There's a lot of states like this, but there's a lot of states not like this. I do have a good close friend that owns a construction business in New York, and he said the only reason he's still there is because that's where he built his business many years ago, and that's where his family lives. But we talk all the time, and he can't believe how easy it is for me to run a business where I do. With that, what you should do, just to get an idea of what you're up against, is just do a Google search on the most free states in the United States. If you live in Canada or England, or you got your own set of problems, that'll give you an idea of what to expect. Is your state going to regulate you? Is your city going to regulate you? That city's got too much regulations. You know what? I'm not even going to waste my time marketing myself in that city. This city here, I can go up, borders that city. We're just using this as an example. And all I got to do is go to the building department and fill out a form, and I am a contractor. I can go out and start building houses, finishing basements, anything residential construction. You can build a triplex that is not more than 3 stories tall. Real easy. There's a lot of money to be made very quickly in municipalities that have loose regulations. A lot of times the work that I do isn't even inspected. Even I pull permits, and I said, so I got to, go into a new building department. So which inspections do I got to call for? Oh, no, there's no inspections. Just fill out the form and pay us. And pay us the sales tax. They want their sales tax. Now that's not really what I wanted to focus on in this video. It's getting a little bit too far in the future. Most guys start out completely under the table, below the radar for years, and some people stay there. I know more people who work off the books, unpermitted, unlicensed, cash only. Well, you can get checks. There's ways around getting checks and keeping the IRS from seeing basically how much money you have. I don't think it's safe for me to advise those ways, but if you are in business long enough, you will find them. Marketing yourself, it's much different now than it was. I actually found the first customer email, and it was on an AOL email address. Somehow I was going through an old computer, I'm like, AOL, holy cow. Anyways, it was 12 years ago that I did my first tile job. It was for a vacation condo that had double master suites, and they wanted the tile surround around the tub replaced with slate. So that was my very first tile job, was a tile surround in a bathroom. Things have changed a lot, mainly social media. And social media can be very dangerous for a business. A lot of my customers are business owners. One owns a small restaurant and stays as far away from Yelp as possible. There's Google reviews that you can make a Google page. I did all that and canceled it all. It is not worth the risk. The Better Business Bureau, if you want to really tick somebody off, just when they call you, just tell them you don't want to be part of the Better Business Bureau, and they will just jump down your throat and try to badger you into joining the BBB. The social media that I'm talking about is not review websites. Another example that just jumped into my brain, so I'm going to tell you real quick, is there's another local handyman, very good handyman, and he has gone the route of trying to promote himself by all the review websites. And I check out my competition, and you should check out the competition too. And I just feel bad for this guy. He is getting beat up in these reviews. He's got a lot of positive reviews, but he's also got a lot of negative reviews. And I can read the reviews and read the stories because I do this for a living, and I just know that, ooh, that's a bad situation you got into. I discourage you from doing the Yelp or the Google reviews. I did pursue, I had a website, had the Google Place, started doing SEO optimization. I never paid for SEO optimization, but I turned out not needing it. I kept getting work and kept getting more work, and all that internet-based review and trying to get traffic to the website and the Google page just kind of drifted off. And since then, I've closed down my entire business website. Don't even have one. Now, it did get me some work in the beginning because I was pounding the pavement looking for work. I used a website, not a Facebook page, not an Instagram, a fairly well-designed web page as my portfolio. So I do suggest that you do that because you don't, if you're young and you're getting started and you don't have a large customer base that keeps you busy all year round, you need to get that. And that is a marketing tool. And it has gotten me some really good jobs and long-term customers. That deck that I just built, that guy put an ad on Craigslist maybe 5 years ago. And this was his answer, because we're kind of buddies now. Why did you choose me? And he says, oh, well, you're the only one that didn't have any spelling errors, and you had a website, so I knew that you were serious. And the amount of money, we're well over $100,000 from one Craigslist ad, one Craigslist gig. And the future is still going. And that guy has recommended me, and I've gotten more and more lines of referral from that one. Well, that's one way I got started, is Craigslist Gigs. There's a gig section. Don't expect to make much money at all. What you're doing is you're getting paid some money to interview and get in front of somebody to impress them. Another form of marketing and advertising that I don't need to do anymore is I always used to have business cards on me. I have them in my pocket, gave them to all my friends, and anytime they would hear somebody talking about something that needed to be done at work, they're good friends, so they would go over, give out my business card. Friends, family, you can go to Vistaprint and get like 1 million of them. You'll never go through them. Maybe you will. I still have a box that's almost full. And I got it a long time ago. So that's another route, and that's something I picked up from one of my customers who has a huge international computer tech business. And he said he built his business at happy hour. Happy hour in very wealthy neighborhoods where the fancy people go to unwind. The CEOs, people who are in the upper management. And he would give out business cards. He'd buy people rounds of drinks and give them a business card. Next thing you know, he's having to spend a whole year in Singapore doing international business. Now, something that's changed is social media. Like I said, I'm not talking about reviews. I'm talking about Facebook. Of course, I used to have a business Facebook page, got rid of it. Used to have a personal Facebook page, got rid of it. I haven't had those in 3 years, I think. There's this app that a lot of neighborhoods use, a lot of people use, called Nextdoor. And I always know there are some negatives, and I'm going to start out with the negatives. I don't want it to all be sunshine and rainbows. But every time someone recommends me on Nextdoor, my phone just starts exploding with text messages and phone calls from lead generating services. Hey, do you want to go work here? Do you want to go work there? I'm like, how did you even get my number? And they're text messages that go off 20 times a day. No exaggeration. 20 times a day. And I would like, stop. Take me off this list. Nextdoor, as I understand it, it's not easy to sign up. You got to apply and prove your address, and it's neighborhood related. And what you want to do is tell all your friends, all your family, and yourself to join Nextdoor in their neighborhoods. This works better in a large metro area. And keep an eye out. Someone says, hey, does anybody know a good handyman? Immediately, there you go. That job is booked. When it comes from a first-hand word-of-mouth reference, you almost got it. It's everywhere Nextdoor. And in fact, my dad told me he started one. He lives in the middle of nowhere on a large plot of land where all of his neighbors are farmers. And we were talking about something, and he says, oh yeah, I started a Nextdoor for this area, and there's a lady down the road that does sewing. So he's going to take a pair of pants in to get, hemmed up or something like that. So some lady down the road got work because of Nextdoor. So there's 3 right off the bat: is the Craigslist Gigs, business cards to everybody and anybody with your friends, and the Nextdoor app. Now, how to keep these branches growing in your referral tree is until that tree is huge, you can't be focused on money. So many people have been just emailing me every day still about pricing. So you want to under-promise, over-deliver, have a great price with a higher than expected product. Now, I did that for several years and then started bumping my prices up, started bumping them up. The ultimate goal with all of this is year-round work that pays well. And I think previous video I talked about money and trying to determine how much money you need to make. Because if you're leaving that office job or your career or a different career path where you're not self-employed, we talked about the business taxes and all the other benefits, retirement benefits. That's one I left out. It was on my list, but I accidentally left it out. At very minimum, 401k matching. The retirement plan is something that you're missing out on being self-employed. So you got to figure out how much money you need, and that's your end goal. But that's not going to happen in year 1 or year 2. The next thing I want to talk about is actual paid marketing. It's something that I didn't do. I had a fund for it. I set some money aside, and I said, okay, when things slow down, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get signs made, or I'm going to get my trailer all lettered up. I looked into the U.S. Postal Service. Has these mailers. They have a whole program on their website, the U.S. Post Office, on how to send out mailers. There's other services to send out colored mailers. I get them all the time. Unfortunately, I don't have much good to say about them. I got some big trees, and I got one in the mail from a tree trimmer. I didn't have very good experience with the tree trimmer. They came to give an estimate that sent out the flyer. Yeah. What I did have good experience with is I asked one of the property managers that I do work for, I said, hey, who do you have trim all these gigantic trees in these yards that you of all these houses? He told me the name of the company, and it was perfect. The guy came out. It's a family-owned business. Him and his wife on a Sunday. She sat in the truck. He came out, looked at my trees. He was very knowledgeable about the trees. Gave me an estimate. Set it up for 2 or 3 weeks later. Family-owned business. 2 sons and 2 helpers. They're climbing through the trees like crazy with their chainsaws. Great experience. And actually, a year later, I called him back, and he just came out to give me an estimate on 2 more trees. So word-of-mouth advertising, I cannot stress enough, is the best advertising. It's free, and you are in full control of it. This is getting very long, so I'm going to have to cut a lot out, and I'm just going to keep the best parts in. There's a lot that I will have to cut out. We're looking at about 25-30 minutes right now. But I want to tell a story about when I was a superintendent, and it was for a Fortune 250 company. That's the only thing I've worked for is Fortune 250 companies, and they had a very aggressive customer service training, and J.D. Powers and Associates would send every home buyer a survey. There was one question that mattered the most. No one cared about any other question except for one question, and it was a 1 to 10 rating, and it was, how likely are you to recommend this home builder to friends and family? And we did everything we could to get a 10 out of 10 because it was so heavily weighted in bonuses that every year you could go out and buy a brand new truck just on your bonuses that were based off of one question. So these Fortune 250 companies do serious research on marketing and business growth. And that one question, I mean, we even had, this will give it away, there's a slogan that we had on our shirts. And we put them on the shirts so that we would entice the customer to say, what's the meaning of that slogan on your shirt? Well, since you asked, we strive to get 10 out of 10 rating on this one question. At every point of contact, we were supposed to try to brainwash the customer into this one survey question of how likely are you to recommend this home builder to your friends and family. And they invested so much money in training us to get that 10. And I mean, from personality profiling, we used to do like mock situations, like acting almost, on how to interact with difficult homeowners. And as a superintendent, modern superintendent, you are in contact with that homeowner, future homeowner, more than anybody. There's a sales office, and the sales office like passes the customer to the superintendent, and that superintendent shows them their foundation, sends them weekly emails, weekly phone calls, pictures, couple different walkthroughs. So for the whole entire build process, I was in front of the customer. So that really helps me in getting all these customers that I have to spread the word. I have constant work, more work than I can handle, and so that's my experience on getting from broke sailing bum, I guess you would call me. Lived on a sailboat in Fort Lauderdale. That's another big thing, is business mentors, and we'll get into that in a future video. But I met a lot of successful entrepreneurs in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that had a major impact on my mental game in building this business. Like a major impact. And for some reason, these guys, these are not like multi-millionaires, these are multi-hundred millionaires, were making me sandwiches. It's crazy. Right on the coast, I'm working in their house, and they are making me sandwiches for lunch, and just sitting down with me and talking. It was unreal. And having an entrepreneur mindset is also a huge key component into growing a successful business. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to go inside, try to edit this all down to something manageable. Hopefully I won't cut out too many important parts. And you watch the whole thing. You didn't get glossy-eyed and fall asleep. One guy says that I put him to sleep all the time. He falls asleep during my videos. Well, wake up! Just kidding around. Sprinklers are starting to go off. Must be 8:15 is the backyard. Goodbye.